Hello everyone, welcome to our live coverage of United Launch Alliance's Atlas V rocket launch for Amazon on Kuiper 2 mission, also known as KA-02 for Kuiper Atlas 2. Hope you all are doing fine and excited about the upcoming Kuiper 2 launch, but we know it for sure that you are sky high with the excitement for the next SpaceX's Transporter 14 and Axiom 4 missions. If it's your first time here, hi, my name is Dipto Maitra. I'll be your friend and host providing commentary for today's mission launch, and you are watching AstroYonder live.
Roger, 0G, and I feel fine. Capsule is turning around.
Houston, we see a nominal MECO. Welcome to space.
Now, before we ignite the engines on today's mission details, a big thanks to all of you joining us here at AstroYonder, from all of our moderators and AstroYonder team. We are truly fueled up by your presence and support that inspires us to work more hard and to meet your expectations. A big thanks to our amazing YouTube community for the encouragement that keeps our mission flying, and heartfelt gratitude for helping us to bring you deep dive launch coverages loaded with extensive stats and thorough insights. We are grateful to have you on board as we count down to the liftoff together. Would really appreciate it if you guys could join the chat and let us know where you are joining from. Feel free to share any questions, suggestions, or opinion with us. Please don't be shy, just bring them on. We would love to hear from you guys and would love to cherish to know you more as we move ahead with the stream. Everyone's is buzzing with the excitement for SpaceX's Axiom 4 mission, but to be honest, it's getting a bit restless. At least this is how I feel personally with the repetitive postponements of the Axiom 4 mission launch. That's 7 times the launch got delayed as of now. But it's true, better safe than sorry, especially when it comes to a human spaceflight mission. But now let's move our focus back to Kuiper 2 mission launch happening today. Today's launch marks the Project Kuiper's second full-scale, second operational satellite launch. We are waiting for a United Launch Alliance's Atlas V rocket launch in its 551 configuration for Amazon's Project Kuiper from Space Launch Complex 41 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida within a 29 minutes launch window between 6:54 a.m. to 7:23 a.m. Eastern Daytime on June 23rd. Currently targeting at the opening of the launch window at 6:54 a.m. Eastern Daytime, that is 10:54 hours UTC. Just a heads up, I'll be giving the real-time updates during the stream about the mission, so keep an ear out for what updates I'm providing. And another reminder is just me only managing the launch coverages on my own. So if we face any technical issues or snags, please bear with me and hang tight. I will do my best to guide you through the upcoming Atlas V rocket launch happening in approximately 1 hour from now. The webcast from ULA will begin 20 minutes prior to the liftoff. Now, before that, we want to share some of the insights about the mission. So for that, we are here today with the stream starting a little bit earlier from the webcast. Now, with the previous Kuiper 1 mission, Project Kuiper's payload of 27 satellite was the heaviest payload ever flown by ULA's Atlas V. Now, to be precise, it's 15,422 kilograms, and the same applies to today's launch as well. To accommodate it, ULA will launch the Atlas V in its most powerful configuration, the 551 variant of the Atlas V 500 series, and we will break down the rocket's configuration for you and learn more about the rocket shortly. The Kuiper 2 launch on its initial attempt on June 16 got delayed after the engineers noticed a higher than normal purge temperature in the booster engine. The ULA team then looked into the hardware and fixed the issue, which involved rolling out the fully stacked Atlas V rocket back to vertical integration facility at Space Launch Complex 41, and then to look into the issue, fixing it, and again rolling back to the pad. And also let me mention about the weather, because if you guys remember, that caused a scrub for Kuiper 1 mission on its first attempt. According to 45th Weather Squadron officials, just a second, their recent launch weather forecast report that today's weather for the launch looks quite promising, with 15% of launch weather constraint violations, specifically the cumulus cloud being the main concern as of now, with a very small threat of isolated coastal showers. But earlier reports forecasted a 20% probability of launch weather constraint violations. Otherwise, for today, as of now, it's a 85% favorable weather conditions for the launch anticipated by the 45th Weather Squadron. The forecast calls for a temperature of 26 degrees Celsius, scattered clouds with only 3% cloud cover, a chance of an isolated shower, while having good visibility and southerly wind speed of 12 to 17 miles per hour at the time of launch. Worth mentioning, if for some reason the launch moves to the backup opportunity tomorrow on Tuesday, there is a 90% chance of meeting the weather constraint rules. Now, for those who are new to today's mission, Project Kuiper is Amazon's low Earth orbit satellite broadband network, similar to SpaceX's Starlink mega constellation. Its mission is to provide fast, reliable internet to customers around the world using a first generation satellite constellation of more than 3,200 advanced low Earth orbit satellites, or you can say 3,236 satellites to be precise. The satellites are projected to be placed in 98 orbital planes in 3 orbital layers, one at 590 kilometers, 610 kilometers, and the last one on the 630 kilometers of altitude. Now, Amazon is expecting to begin delivering service to customers later this year, and the company has secured more than 80 launches to deploy their initial constellation. But over the next few years, Kuiper and ULA teams will conduct 6 more Atlas V rocket launches, which covers today's one, and for Atlas V it's 8 in total, and with other 38 launches on ULA's larger Vulcan Centaur rocket. So that's 46 launches for ULA, and the remaining 34 launches are planned across other launch providers, that is Ariane Space, Blue Origin, and SpaceX. But personally, I feel it's a bit critical considering the current launch cadence conditions of all the other service launch service providers except SpaceX, which as we know is doing an excellent job. Well, this is just my personal opinion without any inclination or bias towards any of the mentioned providers. And according to the current launch manifest, I guess we might see a SpaceX launch for Kuiper satellite, that is the KF-01 mission. Is the naming convention is just similar like with the ULA. For ULA, it is the Atlas, that's why it's KA-02. But for SpaceX, it will be Falcon rocket involved for the launch, so it's KF-01 mission in the second quarter of 2025. Although we are getting close to the end of that, hopefully we might be able to see the launch. So now let's rewind to see how the mission geared up. ULA began preparation for the Kuiper 1 launch by standing up the Atlas V first stage aboard the mobile launch platform at the vertical integration facility located adjacent to Space Launch Complex 41 pad. The subsequent days saw the full complement of 5 side-mounted solid rocket boosters affixed to Atlas to provide maximum launch performance. Right now on your screen you can see the common core booster being lifted. Now following that we will see the side solid rocket boosters. Here we go, on your screen you can see them. The next up will be the Centaur upper stage, which will carry the payload into the prescribed orbit. On your screen is right now the Centaur's upper stage, which got lifted into the vertical integration facility. Kuiper 2 marks the 251st Centaur launch atop an Atlas rocket and 276th flight overall for the upper stage. Standing 205 feet, 62.5 meter tall, the fully assembled Atlas V rocket features a longer length payload fairing than standard to carry as many satellites as possible, and this will be the only 10th time in 103 launches of Atlas V to use the larger fairing. Atlas V with 551 configuration weighing 1.3 million pounds. Once fuel for the launch generates a combined thrust of 2.7 million pounds, or you can say 12 meganewtons for its main engine and 5 solid rocket boosters. The rocket will embark on a northeasterly trajectory, and onboard guidance will target a near circular low Earth orbit of approximately 280 miles with an inclination of 51.9 degrees. Then Project Kuiper team will take over the command of the mission from the Mission Operations Center in Redmond, Washington, confirming satellites' health and then ultimately raising the satellites to their assigned orbit of 392 miles, that is 630 kilometers above Earth. Now, if this stream fuels your love for space, give this stream a like. It's kind of fine-tuning the trajectory of our mission to build a community with amazing space enthusiasts like you. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification so that you won't miss a single launch update. Here at AstroYonder, we believe together we will build the ultimate constellation of space enthusiasts, and for that, we need your support, and we would be super grateful for your consideration. Now, let's move on and let's learn a bit about the Atlas V variants which we have. Atlas V having two variants in vogue as of now with 400 and 500 series. Now the Atlas V 400 series uses a 4-meter fairing ranging from 0 to 3 solid rocket boosters, including models like, or you can say configurations like 401 with no SRBs, that is the solid rocket boosters, and a single RL-10 engine. Or if we consider another configuration of the 400 series like 400 431 having three solid rocket boosters and single RL-10 engine. The payload capacity for the 400 series to low Earth orbit is 15,260 kilograms, and to geostationary orbit it is 7,700 kilograms. Now let's consider about the 500 series of the Atlas V, which uses a 5-meter fairing for larger payloads ranging from 0 to 5 solid rocket boosters, including configurations like 551, just like today's one, with 5 solid rocket boosters and 1 Centaur engine. Boosting payload capacity for the 500 series to low Earth orbit is 18,850 kilograms, and to geostationary orbit it is 8,900 kilograms. Now there is another variant which still didn't came into picture. That's the heavy lift variant of the Atlas V. The proposed Atlas V heavy lift variant with 3 common core booster was never flown but could have lifted 29,400 kilograms to low Earth orbit. So just imagine with a single common core booster for Atlas V, which generates such a huge amount of thrust. So what it would be if this heavy lift variant will be getting to be launched. Over 100 launches with a near perfect reliability record with 2 partial failures back in 2007 and 2016 that made Atlas V a workhorse for ULA. Now let's move on and learn a little bit about the Atlas V flight configuration naming convention. Atlas V rocket uses 3-digit naming convention to designate its variants, reflecting its modular design for various missions requirement. Now the first digit represents the diameter of the payload fairing in meters. Options are 4 for the 400 series and 5 for the 500 series, which accommodates different payload sizes. The second digit indicates the number of strap-on solid rocket boosters, also known as SRBs in short, attached to the common core booster. This ranges from 0 to 3 for the 400 series, and for the 500 series it ranges from 0 to 5. The third digit specifies the number of RL-10 engines on the Centaur upper stage. Either one, that is the single engine Centaur, also known as SEC in short, or 2 dual engine Centaur referred as DEC for short. That's affecting the payload capacity and the orbit insertion precision. Now, if we take an example for Atlas 400 series like 401, now according to the naming convention on your screen, you can understand if it will be a 401 configuration. So the first digit refers 4-meter fairing, second digit 0 refers to no SRBs, and 1, the third digit, refers that one Centaur engine used for the lighter payloads like the Mars InSight mission. Now, if we take today's configuration into consideration, the Atlas V with 551 having 5-meter fairing, 5 solid rocket boosters, and 1 Centaur engine, the most powerful variant capable of lifting up to 18,814 kilograms to low Earth orbit, as seen in Juno mission to Jupiter. Now let's dive into the Atlas V rocket, but before that, would like to show you the recap of the previous Atlas 5 launch for Kuiper 1 mission.
Out minus 7 minutes. Status check to proceed with terminal count. Atlas systems propulsion.
Go.
Hydraulics.
Go.
Centaur systems propulsion. Go. Pneumatics. Go. LO2.
Go.
LH2.
Go.
Anomaly chief. Go. Launch director.
You have permission to launch.
Proceeding with the count.
3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
Go Atlas. Go Centaur.
Liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket. Carrying satellites for Amazon's Project Kuiper.
Hydraulic pressure at operational level. We have good indication of jettison of all 5 SRBs. Good indication of payload bearing jettison. Good indication of Centaur separation. All Kuiper satellites have been deployed successfully.
Excuse me, I met my mic on mute. So I hope you enjoyed the video for the recap of the Kuiper 1 mission. Now today we are waiting for the next one, the Kuiper 2 mission, deploying again a batch, the second batch of 27 Kuiper 2 satellites. Now let's dive into the Atlas V rocket for today's mission, breaking down its setup in a way that's easy to follow. Coming from the top, we have the payload fairing. The spacecraft rides inside a 17.7 feet, 5.4 meter wide medium payload fairing. It is built from a sandwich style composite with vented aluminum honeycomb core and graphite epoxy layers. This two-piece shell wraps around both the Centaur stage and the satellites. bringing the rocket's total height to about 205 feet, which is equivalent to 62.5 meters with this 5-meter fairing. In general, the Atlas V payload fairings are configurable to fit a variety of spacecraft height, with both the 4-meter and 5-meter diameter variants. But there is a point worth highlighting. The 4-meter payload fairing is a metallic design configured by adding additional cylindrical plugs to achieve the desired length, while the 5-meter payload fairing is a carbon composite bisector design manufactured by ULA partner Beyond Gravity. Beyond Gravity is the space-oriented segment for the Swiss technology group named RUAG, RUAG. Now moving on next, we have the Centaur upper stage. The second stage is 10 feet, equivalent to 3 meters wide, and 51.5 feet, equivalent to 12.6 meters long. Its pressure stabilized tanks are made of tough corrosion resistant stainless steel, and to keep these cryogenic tanks chilled, it uses helium purged blankets, radiation shields, and spray on foam insulation. Running on liquid hydrogen and oxygen, it is powered by an RL-10A-4-2 engine that pumps out 22,600 pounds, which is equivalent to 100.5 kilonewtons of thrust. RL-10 engines are manufactured by Aerojet's Rocketdyne and L3Harris Technologies company. Up front, the Centaur forward adapter hooks up to the avionics fault tolerant gear that connects electrically and structurally to the spacecraft. The Centaur's avionic handles the guidance, flight control, and sequencing for both the booster and the Centaur stages. Now moving on next, we have the common core booster for the Atlas V rocket. But before discussing about that, would like to welcome Bob Tripika, one of our moderator, joining us after a long time. And I hope you are doing well, Bob Tripika, and guess everyone at your home is doing fine as well. Was really missing you in between, and also Fairmid was not joining us in between, but during our last coverage of Starlink 15-9, we got to see Fairmate, but you were missing. And today, I hope you enjoyed your favorite drone ship landing previously. But I must agree that you're an early bird. You woke up early for the launch. But thanks for tuning in, and I hope you will be enjoying the stream. Now about the common core booster, which is 12.5 feet, that is 3.8 meters in diameter, and stretches 106.5 feet, which is equivalent to 32.5 meters long. Its rigid tanks are built from isograde aluminum barrels, spun foam domes, and inter-tank skirts. The power comes from the RD-180 engine, a single unit with 2 thrust chambers burning the purest form of kerosene, that is the RP1 propellant, and liquid oxygen for a hefty 3.83 meganewtons of thrust at sea level, which can operate for about 4 minutes into the flight. The movements of the engine nozzles are controlled by 4 hydraulic actuators, and also the engines can be throttled from 47% to 100% of nominal thrust. Next up, we have the last part for the Atlas V rocket, that is the solid rocket boosters. The 5 GEM 63 strap-on solid rocket boosters kick in at liftoff, each adding 1.6 meganewtons of thrust for 94 seconds to get things moving. These solid rocket boosters can be of Aerojet's AJ-60A variant, or it can be Northrop Grumman's GEM 63. But currently, Aerojet's AJ-60A variant getting obsolete, with ULA using the GEM solid rocket boosters in most of their launches. This Atlas V with 551 configuration rocket designated AV-105 for today's mission stands 105 feet tall and will weigh 1.3 million pounds once fueled for liftoff. It will leave the pad with 2.7 million pounds, that is 12 meganewtons of thrust from its main engine, and with 5 solid rocket boosters to launch the Kuiper 2 mission. Now, if you feel like we are adding value to your viewing experience, please provide this stream a like. It's kind of fuel for YouTube's algorithm rocket, bringing in more space lovers, helping rocket fans to discover this stream out, and growing our community of amazing space enthusiasts like you. Also consider about smashing the subscribe button and turning on the bell notification, as we are burning our all-day propellant to bring you detailed streams packed with stats and insights. Your support would really inspire us and to keep up with our hard work to meet your expectations. Now, before proceeding, give us few moments to check whether the launch is proceeding as scheduled and to keep ourselves updated. As of now, the ULA team is in a planned hold. There is no issues as of now. And they mentioned the launch team is not working any technical issues, so that's a good thing. So let's move on, as we are just 9 minutes away from the webcast to begin. And let's see today's Kuiper 2 flight profile. Following the final confirmation of the rocket readiness from the mission control team, the RD-180 engine and 5 GEM 63 solid rocket boosters will ignite to produce more than 2 million pounds of thrust, lifting United Launch Alliance's Atlas V rocket. Shortly after liftoff, the rocket begins a pitch over to attain the proper flight path while minimizing the maximum dynamic stress experienced on the vehicle, also known as max Q. Atlas then reaches Mach 1, the speed of sound. The 5 solid rocket boosters, or the SRBs, precisely augment the liftoff thrust of the Atlas V. With their propellant expired approximately 96 seconds into ascent, the SRBs burn out, followed by their jettison. Atlas guidance systems then begin steering towards a precise target in space, and Amazon's Kuiper satellites being encapsulated inside the 5-meter diameter fairing. They will get jettisoned just after crossing the Kármán line, entering the space. After burning most of its fuel to flight gravity, the RD-180 engine shuts down and the booster stage separates. The rocket then begins a second stage flight, weighing less than 7% of what it did at liftoff. ULA's high-performance Centaur with RL-10 engine ignites, powering the upper stage and spacecraft into a circular low Earth orbit, approximately 280 miles, that is 450 kilometers, with 51.9 degrees inclination. Now on your screen is the Kuiper 1 satellite deployment, which they didn't showed us during the webcast for the Kuiper 1, but later on they released the footage. Now about coming back while you are watching this view, coming back to the flight profile for the today's Atlas launch of Kuiper 2 mission. The first burn of the upper stage coming to an end, followed by Centaur orienting into proper position to release Amazon's Project Kuiper satellites. Once the satellites have successfully separated from the rocket, they will begin a series of mostly automated steps to activate onboard systems and use their electric propulsion systems to gradually ascend to their assigned orbit of 392 miles, that is 630 kilometers. Then the satellites will travel at a speed of more than 17,000 miles per hour on orbit and circle the planet approximately every 90 minutes. So that's close to the speed of International Space Station, but of course in a different orbit as they will collide. While Starlink operates at approximately 550 kilometers, Kuiper satellites will orbit slightly higher at 630 kilometers. Now, once again, just a reminder, live mission updates are coming your way during the stream, so be sure to listen in. Now, let's just quickly take a look at the trajectory for today's Kuiper 2 mission. Atlas 5 leaving the pad from Space Launch Complex 41 from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station with the spacecraft on board, the batch of 27 Kuiper satellites for a northeast trajectory, leaving Florida's Space Coast heading into a low Earth orbit, that is to the first shell of Kuiper mega constellation indicated by that green line on your screen. The red line you see indicates where Atlas 5 first stage, that is the common core booster, will splash down after stage separation, just a little later leaving the east coast. Today's Kuiper 2 mission launch will bring the total constellation size to 54 satellites. Just a reminder, we are currently standing by for Atlas 5 liftoff at 6:54 a.m. Eastern Daytime, 10:54 hours UTC from Florida, heading on a northeast trajectory for the Kuiper 2 mission for Amazon's Project Kuiper, carrying a batch of 27 satellites to low Earth orbit. We are getting close to the webcast. We are just 3 minutes away from that. So let's just quickly wrap up things with the stats we have for you guys to share with. With today's launch, United Launch Alliance will have its 161st overall launch and their second of 2025. This will also mark the 94th Atlas 5 launch to date and the second of 2025. Additionally, it will be the 103rd Atlas 5 launch overall and the third United Launch Alliance mission dedicated to Amazon's Project Kuiper, making it the second operational satellite deployment for them. I said it third because I'm including the first proto flight for the Amazon's Project Kuiper. The launch is set to take off from Space Launch Complex 41, which will make it United, United Launch Alliance's 85th overall launch from that pad and the 114th orbital launch from Space Launch Complex 41 in total. It's going to be incredible to see these numbers come together, highlighting just how active and dependable United Launch Alliance has been with the Atlas V rocket. Well, just a second, let's look into the bar graph. Prior to today's launch, Atlas V had completed 102 missions. Before this year's Kuiper 1 mission on April 28, its most recent flight for 2024 last year was the United USSF 51 for a national security mission on July 30th of 2024, marking its second and final flight of that year. Earlier, it supported the Starliner crew flight test on June 5th, 2024, which came with unexpected twists and turns. Now, with today's launch of Kuiper 2 mission, also known as Kuiper Atlas 2, United Launch Alliance's Atlas V will mark its second launch of the year and the 103rd Atlas V launch overall. It is expected with the United Launch Alliance's Vulcan rocket now certified for national security space missions and ULA winning a Space Force contract recently. We hope to see an increase in launch activity for them this year. Now moving on to this year's orbital launches. With this 137th orbital launch of the year, United States is leading with 89 launches, including this one, followed by China with 35 launches, Russia with 2 launches, 1 launch by Japan, 2 launches from India, and Europe with 3 launches. Australia was just about to debut for this year with the launch of Ares rocket previously, which got scrubbed on its initial attempt. Hopefully they will be having the launch soon. And now we have this pie chart showing 2025 orbital launches by rocket variations, including today's launch. Atlas V gearing up for its second launch this year, while just after a few hours from now, Falcon 9 is expected to have its 77th launch, marking their 505th mission launch with Transporter 14 mission from Vandenberg. We will be streaming that event as well, so don't forget to join us as we will provide you a complete breakdown of 70 payloads on board. Now, while you check out the pie chart, please provide us a moment and let me check whether the stream is up or not. Well, it's just 1 minute away from ULA to start streaming. I think they adjusted, yes, they adjusted the streaming time. So let them start streaming. I will set up the stream for you guys. As of now, New Glenn is having 1 launch, and I guess in July they will be having the second launch. I guess so. ULA is still adjusting their liftoff time. I don't, excuse me, the broadcast time. I don't know why, for what reason it is. And according to ULA, the upper level winds have been verified and is acceptable for today's launch. As of now, the liftoff time remains the same. It's 6:54 a.m. Eastern Daytime. So about the liftoff time, there is no more adjustment, but they are having some issues, I guess, for the webcast because those hosts for the webcast are not prepared, and for that they are taking time, and they started to stream. So let's move on as they begin the stream. Please allow me a couple of seconds to set things up. So we have the webcast. Let me just turn off the caption so that it looks beautiful.
Good morning, and welcome to live coverage of ULA's Atlas V launch of the second batch of Project Kuiper satellites for Amazon. Project Kuiper is Amazon's low Earth orbit satellite broadband network. I'm Ben Chilton, and I'm an ordnance engineer at United Launch Alliance. I'm joining you from ULA's Advanced Spaceflight Operations Center here at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. We also have a team on console at ULA headquarters in Denver, Colorado. Liftoff is scheduled for 6:54:30 a.m. Eastern at the opening of today's 30-minute launch window. Launch windows vary by mission and are determined by the payload's destination. Today's mission is going to low Earth orbit, or LEO, and has multiple orbit insertion opportunities. Today's coverage will continue through the start of the first, second stage engine burn. For additional real-time mission coverage, follow along with our live blog at ulalaunch.com.
So it's clear that for today's webcast also from United Launch Alliance, we won't be getting the views of the payload deployment, the live views of the payload deployment. It's similar to the previous Kuiper 1 mission. So now let's enjoy the liftoff as we are having just a 29 minutes of launch window for today's Kuiper 2 mission. Meanwhile, responding to Pop Tripica, our moderator here, a lover of a shotful of gravitas droneship. Well, to answer your comment, I am also in doubt that how many of them they will be able to launch, and they will be launching at least more than 27, I guess, in the New Glenn because it can handle more payload weights. And also we have to see how many of the Kuiper 2 satellites get launched by the Falcon 9 rocket. Because according to now a trend with the optimized version 2 variant, we are seeing 27, 28, and even 29 of them to be getting launched with the Falcon 9 rocket for Starlink. Now Kuiper mission started itself with 27 of them, although these are the first generation satellites for Kuiper constellation. Now SpaceX is up with the version 2 variant that's also having a new uh, you can say new makeover with its optimizations. So let's see how many of them gets launched with the Falcon 9 rocket during KF-01 mission.
Let's learn more about how ULA builds the Atlas V rocket.
Well, they are playing some copyrighted tracks right now, so we have to pause the audio. Although I did covered everything what they will be going to say in the webcast. We already saw these views previously when I was discussing about the mission. This is the common core booster getting lifted, and the vertical integration facility. Then it comes the solid rocket boosters, 5 of them. Now, would like to welcome Apocalypse Now for tuning in. And I guess you won't be able to see it from the Southern California, as um, this is going to be launched to a northeast trajectory, leaving the Florida's east coast. So I guess you won't be able to see, although ULA will be showing in a while that the visibility of the rocket where it can be seen. But previously, also in the Kuiper 1 mission, it's was not. I'm pretty sure that it was not seen from the Southern California. So I know it's disappointing, but at least you can enjoy the launch coverage over here. But once again, thanks for tuning in, Apocalypse Now, and I hope you will be enjoying the stream with us.
The weather is often hot and humid as it is today. To withstand the corrosion that could come with these conditions, the Atlas booster is finished with an anodized coating. This coating gives the rocket's first stage its distinctive copper color, while also protecting it from corrosion. Another tool used to mitigate the impact of weather is the environmental control system, which provides air conditioning to the spacecraft.
Well, as we are watching this live view,
Second ULA launch
uh,
for Amazon's Project Kuiper satellites to orbit.
let me say a little bit about the satellites for the Kuiper 2 mission. The satellites flying on the KA-02, that is Kuiper Atlas 02 mission, represents a significant upgrades from the two prototype satellites successfully tested during their protoflight mission back in October 2023. And the Project Kuiper team mentioned that the performance of every system and subsystem on board had been improved, including phased array antennas, processors, solar arrays, propulsion systems, and optical intersatellite links. Additionally, the satellites are coated in a dielectric mirror film unique to Kuiper, which scatters the reflected sunlight to help them less visible to the ground-based astronomer, and also to have less confusion during their observation made on sky. Under the current terms of its license from the Federal Communications Commission, Amazon is due to launch 3,232 Kuiper satellites by 2029, with half of those satellites going into orbit by mid 2026. Now, as mentioned earlier, Kuiper had 46 launches booked with just United Launch Alliance. Amazon has also purchased 18 launches on Ariane 6 rocket, plus 12 launches on Blue Origin's New Glenn rocket, with options to add another 15 on top of that, and 3 launches on SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket. So it's obvious that they will be having less launches with SpaceX, as they are the rival of SpaceX, says Starlink mega constellation, and that's why they are bringing up this Kuiper satellites mega constellation. Well, Pop Tripica, that's true. It's a daytime launch, so it will be hard to see from far. When you are close to the launch site, it is still possible. But staying far from the launch site and to have a glimpse of the rocket passing through the sky, I guess it will be very much difficult. But I hope that uh, Apocalypse Now can see and at least have any glimpse of the rocket, although it's quite impossible to see the launch, the rocket passing through from the Southern California when the rocket itself is having the northeast trajectory to follow from, that's also from the East Coast. Project Kuiper's ambitious deployment campaign is a part of an effort to catch up with SpaceX's Starlink broadband network. And for that, as I mentioned, they are having only just 3 launches booked on SpaceX's Falcon 9, with which already has more than 8,900 satellites in orbit, now getting close to 9,000 mark. No, I guess they crossed that as well, and 6 million plus subscribers for Starlink. Eutelsat OneWeb is also going after the market for internet service provider by satellites in low Earth orbit. Now let me just check for any update ULA provided. Yes, that United Launch Alliance's launch conductor Dillon Rice has notified that the Amazon spacecraft
is helpful when anomalies occur during the launch countdown.
team and the payload has successfully switched to flight mode. This puts Project Kuiper hardware atop the Atlas V into correct launch configuration. Also, launch conductor Dillon Rice is reminding all console operators that if a constraint is observed after T-7 minutes readiness poll, the team member shall announce hold, which we don't want to hear.
To get a closer look at this visibility map, check out ULA Launch on social media.
So Apocalypse Now, here on your screen right now, you can see the visibility map. So I guess you won't be able to see the rocket launch.
LC, this is flight control. Go. Launch on time verified.
Roger. LC switch is ready. All steps are complete prior to the status check.
-8 minutes.
Right now we are standing by for the readiness poll to proceed with the terminal count.
We remain in the planned 60-minute hold as we continue towards liftoff. In a few moments, ULA launch conductor Dillon Rice will poll the team for the final go to pick up the countdown. The launch conductor coordinates the launch team during a countdown, similar to a symphony conductor coordinating an orchestra. 28 engineers are polled to confirm the rocket is ready to proceed. This is the final status check for all Atlas vehicle systems, ground systems, the payload, and the U.S. Space Force Eastern Range. Let's listen in as Dillon performs the final poll.
L-7 minutes.
Status check to proceed with terminal count. Atlas systems. Propulsion. Go. Hydraulics. Go. Pneumatics. Go. KA-02.
Go.
Water.
Go.
Centaur systems. Propulsion.
Go.
Pneumatics. Go. KA-02.
Go.
LH2.
Go.
Pass gas.
Go.
Electrical systems. Airborne.
Go.
Ground.
Go.
Facility.
Go.
RFFTS.
Go.
Flight control.
Go.
TCQ.
Go.
Op support.
Go.
Comm.
Go.
Umbilical.
Go.
ECS.
Go.
Red line monitor.
Go.
Quality.
Go.
Op safety manager.
Go.
ULA safety officer.
Go.
Vehicle system engineer.
Go.
Anomaly chief.
Go.
Range and weather.
Go.
Launch director.
You have permission to launch.
Proceeding with the count. ALC verify T0 is set for 10, 54, 30, Zulu.
Verified.
Polling is complete, and the team.
So there we go. We have a final go for the launch. The United Launch Alliance's launch director, James Whelan, has given final permission to launch. Also, the liftoff time remains the same. We are at T-minus 5 minutes, I guess.
Like boats, planes, or weather, and that all tracking systems are operational.
Standing by to pick up the countdown clock once again.
You'll hear Go Atlas, Go Centaur, Go Kuiper. This is the final status check for the rocket and payload. To dampen the acoustic shock at liftoff, at T-minus 6 seconds, the Launchpad's water deluge system activates, followed a few seconds later by booster engine ignition. Then, after seeing Atlas lift off, you'll hear flight commentator Daniel Brunson providing updates as the rocket ascends into space. While we arm the ordnance systems, we are preparing several key components for flight, such as the pyrotechnic initiated valves, energetic separation systems, and ordnance igniters, which ignite the solid rocket boosters. Ordnance is often associated with flight termination, but there are many additional uses for energetics within the vehicle. This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. We anticipate releasing the hold in just a few moments.
On my mark, the time will be T-minus 4 minutes and counting. 3, 2, 1, mark.
So there we go. Now the countdown resumes. The final phase of today's countdown is now underway at Cape Canaveral to launch the Atlas V rocket with the Kuiper 2 mission. The countdown clock have resumed, leading us to liftoff.
Following
What? They are now showing the flight profile, which I did already mention, so I'm making the audio to be muted, as these are having copyrighted tracks which we are not allowed to play on our stream. Right now we are T-minus 3 minutes and counting. The Atlas V first stage liquid oxygen replenishment is being secured so that the tank can be pressurized for the launch, and the ground pyrotechnics have been armed to release the vehicle from the launch pad at liftoff. Once again, just to remind you, during the stream I will be providing the live mission updates, so keep an ear out. And also for today's stream, just like the previous Kuiper 1 mission webcast, we will be having webcast to see until this much for the second stage ignition, and after that United Launch Alliance will conclude the webcast and we won't be getting the live view of the payload deployment, just similar to that of Kuiper 1 mission. And hopefully in future they will be releasing the footage as they did for the Kuiper 1 mission for the deployment of the Kuiper 2 satellites.
T-minus 90 seconds. The launch vehicle, ground systems, payload, and eastern range are go for launch. For those of you just tuning in, I'm Ben Chilton, joining you for today's...
The rocket's ordnance controller and the vehicle safety system has been armed. As of now, the flight software on the Atlas V is going active at this time.
4:30 a.m. Eastern.
Valves locked. 1 minute.
Rock, report range status.
Range green.
Good call out. The range is still green. The firing chain is armed. Solid rocket boosters are ready for ignition. Coming up at T-minus 25 seconds, a final status check will be announced on the Atlas center and the payload readiness by each stage prop lead engineer and the launch conductor.
28. Verify ECS reduced for launch.
Verified.
20. Status check.
Go Atlas.
Go Centaur. Go Kuiper.
So there we go. We got the final status check and the final go for today's launch.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition and liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket, carrying satellites for Amazon's Project Kuiper Internet constellation, continuing a new chapter in low Earth orbit satellite connectivity.
So we have a successful liftoff with a huge roar from the Atlas V rocket lifting off from Space Launch Complex 41. T plus 30 seconds into the flight, Atlas V is rolling on course for a 51.9 degrees orbit, heading northeasternly for its 18-minute trip to low Earth orbit. The rocket is launching atop 2.7 million pounds, that is 12 meganewtons of thrust.
Hydraulics continue to look good. Body rate is expected.
Right now we are T plus 60 seconds. The main engine has throttled as programmed with the full complement of 5 side-mounted solid rocket boosters, which provides 2/3 of Atlas V launch power. The rocket has broken through sound barrier to go supersonic and pass the region of maximum aerodynamic stress, also known as max Q.
And max Q, maximum dynamic pressure.
T plus 1 minute and 35 seconds. We have solid rocket boosters burn out. Jettison will occur once aerodynamic conditions are met, and there we go.
And we got good indication of separation of all 5 SRBs. Hydraulics continue to look good.
The 5 GEM 63 solid rocket boosters being jettisoned.
Vehicles now approaching 40 miles downrange, 37 miles in altitude.
We just heard confirmation of solid rocket booster jettison. These additional motors augmented the thrust at liftoff, giving the Atlas rocket an extra boost to reach its circular low Earth orbit destination. We're coming up on our next mission event, jettison of the payload fairing. Let's listen in.
The main engine operating parameters are nominal as of now. Good pump speeds and injector pressure reported from the telemetry. The engine is burning a mixture of highly refined kerosene and liquid oxygen, as I discussed previously.
Entering our next throttle segment, maintaining a constant 2.5 Gs in preparation for PLF jettison. And we've got activation of the RCS system on the upper stage.
We are getting close to T plus 3 minutes. The main engine is throttling to maintain a constant acceleration in preparation for payload fairing separation.
And we got payload fairing jettison and good indication of CFLR deck jettison.
There we go. Also, you can see those fairing halves when they are getting a light reflected on them. And right now we are having this animation.
Hydraulics continue to look good.
Flight commentator Daniel Brunson just called out confirmation of payload fairing jettison. The composite fairing protects the spacecraft as it pushes through the harshest parts of Earth's atmosphere. Next, we'll hear callouts for cutoff of the Atlas first stage engine and separation of the booster stage, followed by ignition of ULA's Centaur second stage engine. These events occur when the first stage has escaped Earth's atmosphere, getting above the Kármán line and into space.
Right now, the main engine is throttling to maintain a constant acceleration limit. Centaur is about to begin its cool-down sequence during the boost phase of the flight in preparation for RL-10 ignition.
And completion of boost phase chill down, engine housing temps responding as expected. And BCO booster engine cutoff. Good indication of Centaur separation. Got pre-start on H2 and O2.
Successful Atlas staging is confirmed. The first stage of flight was completed with booster engine cutoff or BCO. It's the similar like that of main engine cutoff for SpaceX, that is MECO, followed by separation of Atlas V's common core booster. The vehicle now weighs less than 7% of its liftoff mass.
At T+5 minutes. We just heard flight commentator Daniel Brunson confirm the successful completion of the
And I guess ULA will be now concluding their webcast.
The launch team is happy to have another beautiful sunrise launch of the Atlas V here on Florida's Space Coast. As we wrap up today's live coverage, I'd like to say thank you for tuning in to today's...
So they will be wrapping up again. We are not getting any live views for the payload deployment or any more sequences for the Atlas V rocket coming up.
When ULA's new Vulcan rocket will launch its first mission for the U.S. Space Force. Before we sign off, let's take another look at today's liftoff. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition and liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket, carrying satellites for Amazon's Project Kuiper Internet constellation, continuing a new chapter in low Earth orbit satellite connectivity.
We've ended our pitch over maneuver. Body rates turning 0.
Well, we have an update right now to share with you guys that as we got T+6 minutes into the flight, the RL-10A-4-2 engine is firing to lift the rocket the rest of the way to orbital velocity, and this burn by the Centaur will last nearly 14 minutes to place the vehicle into a near circular low Earth orbit of 280 miles, that is 450 kilometers, at an inclination of 51.9 degrees around the Earth. So that's all. With that, we will be wrapping up our stream for today. Also, once again, just another update we are getting right now. Atlas V is traveling at 12,000 miles per hour. So that's the last update we have to share with you guys. So right now we will wrap up our coverage as well. But before that, want to thank you for wherever you are watching our live launch coverage. We really can't do this broadcast without you and your encouragement. So thank you for your continued support for everything what we do here at AstroYonder. Also would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to Pop Tripika, our moderator, joining us after a long time. Apocalypse Now for tuning in, as well as Marcos Antonio for joining us once again. Be sure to check out our upcoming Transporter 14 mission and the XM4 mission, which is as of now not having any specific launch dates. but the streams are already posted on our channel and waiting for your visit. Also, check out our social media handle on X for the latest happenings in the space industry and updates on upcoming launches. I hope the link for our X handle got posted on the chat section. Once again, thanks for watching the stream with us and being a part of our journey here at AstroYonder. Hope you enjoyed the stream. We really appreciate everyone joining us for today's launch. Wishing you a nice week ahead. This is me, Dipto, and AstroYonder Live. Sign off for now, and we will see you next time.